is okay. This panel is not just for those who are at WinterCon. This will apply to everybody's life. So what I want you to do is lock in. And I want you to pay attention because we will be doing more panels here at DY. We want to know what questions y'all have about the Bible, what questions y'all have about a certain topic, what questions y'all have about what's going on in the world, and how we can do our best to answer it with what the Word of God says. Y'all hear a lot from me, you hear a lot from Pastor Ashley, and we want to make sure that we're able to allow everybody who's one of our leaders here at DY the opportunity to share, because a lot of them have been walking with Jesus for a long time as well, and we want you to hear some different perspectives. Is that cool with everybody? So that is another reason that you should really be following DY, because we are posting, every time we do a panel, we will be posting the prompts so that y'all can DM us questions moving forward. We will be having, when you first get here, we'll have some slips of paper that you can write the questions down when we do panels, because we want this to be as interactive as possible with the questions that y'all really want to get answered. So, today, I want to encourage all of our panel people, make sure that you are speaking into the mic. And I will ask a question, and I'll let you guys have an opportunity to pick who's going to answer and all that jazz. But before we do, I do want to do a quick intro of all of our people. So if you could just say your name, how long you've been here at DY, and one thing that you found refreshing at conference. So one thing that you found refreshing at conference. It doesn't have to be your favorite thing, just one thing. We're going to start with the wonderful, the beautiful. Give it up for Pastor Ashley.
Destiny is beautiful too.
Yes, but it's different.
Okay, you said what we found refreshing, how long we've been serving here.
And your name?
My name is Pastor Ashley. Okay, for the cameras.
Yes.
And one thing I found refreshing, honestly, seeing guys worship, I thought it was really impactful. I think it's easy to, sometimes it feels like it's easier for guys to stand there, and then like you'll see girls like jumping around. Like we have a lot more freedom in society, I guess, to like express our emotions, like if we're happy or sad and all that kind of stuff. And I don't feel like guys always feel like they have the safe space to do that. So that was really refreshing to see y'all like worshiping. And then how long have I been here serving? 2011, 2012?
Yep.
I don't know that number, but yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Amari. I've been serving at District Youth at 16, so I was a student leader at 16. I'm 24 now, so that's 8 years. I've been a part of District Youth for half my life. Wow, I was 12. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. I've been here half my life. Wow, that's an investment. Anyway, the most refreshing part of the conference, I was gonna say, seeing the guys worship as well, because we're taught not to be expressive in life, and breaking down that lie that you can be expressive, especially during worship to your Father, and then responding to altar calls and asking for prayer and supporting each other and lifting each other up. That's something really good to see. So, yeah.
Hola. My name is Jamie Bigby. I've been serving in DY since 2019, so about 4 years to the date, actually. It's crazy. Yeah, this is when I literally came back to the church, like this date. So, and what was refreshing from WinterCon, I would definitely say worship, period. I don't know, maybe worship was just great because I was like, y'all can't just be taking people's answer. But no, worship was really amazing. So, yeah.
I'm Destiny. I've been serving here since 2017. Most refreshing thing for me at conference was probably being able to commune with another church, and worship with another church, and yeah, like worshiping with them on stage, having like their speakers and their students were so funny. Some of them that were in my small group, I was like, oh, can you stay? But yeah, that part.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask a question. Just repeat it back in the mic, whoever's going to answer. So I'm going to let Amari actually answer this first question. Where should I start reading in the Bible? Especially like after a conference, it can be difficult. So where should I start reading the Bible?
Where should I start reading the Bible? It's the answer you're gonna hear. I'm gonna tell you. Spoiler: Proverbs. Proverbs, Proverbs, Proverbs. Also, if you want to learn the story about Jesus, you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I tend to go by the Mark and Luke side. Some cool dudes over there. John was a little too egotistical for me. But Proverbs. Proverbs tells you all about how you should carry yourself, live your life. It's all the themes that you want to live by. It tells you about ladies, that foolish guy, guys, that girl that's not worth your time, or that girl that girl that's not worth your time, all that type of stuff. But it's foundational stuff, how you should carry yourself. So, Proverbs. Proverb a day. I ain't gonna say that.
Destiny, what about you?
Oh, that's my answer too.
Oh, Proverbs?
Yeah, we all kind of.
We kind of all said like Proverbs is the easy way to kind of like ease into things, and also like get you a good translation. Don't be trying to read the new King James version, because who speaks that anymore? Like, come on.
Tis the day.
I think that kind of goes into the second question. So, Jamie, if you could answer this and like restate it.
Yeah.
If I get confused about what something in the Bible says, what do I do?
Oh.
Anybody ever been there?
Oh gosh.
Let me put both my hands up. There have been times I'll be like, what does that mean?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah. If I
You don't know what a name means.
look, if I get confused when I see something in the Bible, I just don't really understand it as much. For y'all, what I would say, first, ask a leader to help you through the passage first. Google, the other one. There's a lot of great sources and commentaries for the Bible, but I would also say check with your leaders what you see, because people be putting some stuff on the internet and you want to make sure that it's solid. So even if you do go look something up, just to check to make sure that it's okay, it's a pretty safe bet to go with one of your leaders or talk to one of your leaders about it too.
And I would like to add to that. So a few websites that I personally use, because when I went to Bible college here at the church. When I was here, they taught us how to go to the book. Like there's a Strong's Concordance that you could go and learn how to break down what words mean. So essentially like a dictionary, right? And then when I got older, I realized there's a better version of it online. So go to the book version, go to the better version online. Every time I go to the online version, every time. I don't even have the book version anymore. I give it away. Who needs that? So a website that I personally really enjoy is called Blue Letter Bible. It's an easy way where on there's different people who've broken down the Bible and make it really easy to understand. And then there's also ways to like understand certain words and definitions of words. So next question. If I need encouragement throughout the week, what should I watch or what should I listen to? And I would love to hear from Pastor Ashley.
Some things that you could watch or listen to is things that are edifying. So what are things that are edifying? Things that don't leave you scared, confused, hurting, things like that. Essentially, if we're going to bring it to 2023 vernacular, things that don't trigger you. So if you're watching, I know I can't watch scary movies. So what do I not watch? Scary movies, because I don't like having nightmares. That is not fun. So that's one of the things I do. I'm very particular about the shows that I watch, the music that I'm listening to, and things like that. Again, worship music, positive things. So it shouldn't be like songs that make you cry in a bad way, like, or music that makes you want to fight someone. Like, you look for the opposite of that. If it's taking you to a bad place, look for the opposite of that.
I feel like some people are like, bro, but why? Anybody ever been like, bro, sometimes I just want a good cry, Pastor Zach? Anybody ever been there? Facts. There was a song that like y'all probably know of, but like when I was younger, this really was the song that got people ready to fight. You buck, literally. Hey, y'all like literally, it was a song that like people heard it and they was like, so who we fighting? Like, that's the only course of action is for me to walk up and throw these hands. Then eventually it got to, it's just a hype song. And I think once you are able to get to the point where a song doesn't just have you in your feelings for no reason, but you enjoy the song still, hear Pastor Zach say, I will not tell you not to listen to it. I still go back and listen to Knuck If You Buck. Originally, that song was just for fighting. Do I listen to it every time? No, I don't listen to it every day. But every now and then, like if I'm at the gym and I need to like get ready to go crazy, I'll be like, but I think the reason I bring that up is because I don't want y'all to hear me say, y'all just got done for WinterCon, get rid of everything that you've ever had in your life. There will be times where the Lord tells you to do that. And if he tells you to do that, you do it. However, that doesn't happen every time. I keep dropping my phone. It's okay, it's buns anyway. You have to understand that, and this is something that I would love to hear Omari talk about, is we all are called to have a one-on-one relationship with Jesus, our own walk with our own Father. And because of that, what he tells me to do and what he tells Ashley to do are not the same thing. And I bring that up because she says she doesn't like scary stuff. She kind of fit me. She used to really like scary stuff.
Okay. It's nuance.
Yes, and that's the thing. My nuance is anything that even looks scary, I'm good.
Over his eyes.
Literally.
Come on the screen, he'd be like, I'm like, don't look.
I
like zombies, and he don't. And I'm like, don't look. And he'd be like,
I can't do too much blood. Even though it be looking fake, I still don't like it. Yes, what? It just don't sit right with my spirit. So I'll give you a quick story. This was not planned, but I remember being probably fourth grade. There was this movie that came out a long time ago, and it was called The Patriot, right? And y'all better have seen the movie. But I remember, so for those who haven't, it's like about a revolutionary time and all this stuff. And it really, scary, it wasn't scary. It was dramatic, it was intense, and there was a lot of blood. I remember in my heart, I knew I shouldn't watch it. Like, Jesus was like, don't watch this. And I was at, crazy thing, I was at a Bible study. Everybody else there was cool. I was like, I don't want to watch this. We went downstairs, they were like, yeah, is Zach allowed to watch this? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, Mama, say no, just say no. You know I don't want to watch this. She was like, I mean, if y'all are cool with watching it, I guess he's cool. I was like, I'm not cool with watching it, but I didn't say nothing. And you know what ended up happening? It's okay. What ended up happening is I was up all night. I almost threw up because my stomach was so weak. I was up all night. I had anxiety. I was on edge. And it's like, what was cool for another Christian wasn't cool for me. And that will be the same thing with you guys. There will be some things that'll be cool for me that won't be cool for you. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what you're supposed to or not supposed to do, but what I am going to say is you need to develop your relationship with God because he will tell you what it is. And I would love to pass it over to Destiny before we continue.
I don't know if this is TMI, but can I talk about sex?
Go ahead.
Okay. So for me personally, when it comes to like music and like the things that I watch and stuff like that, I remember when I first came back to the church, like, y'all, I used to have like a whole sex playlist, like as far as music goes, like in my feels playlist, a sex playlist, just because music that talked about sex. And so like, I literally had to like, at one point, like my flesh was just so built up, like, cause I just came from college and I was just like wilding out. But that was just like my go-to music, like feelings music, sex music. Like I like the way it's a vibe. And so I got convicted because I just felt like my spirit man was just like completely dead. And so I had to literally cut that out for a period of time so that my spirit man can be built back up. And so like now I can listen to like, if I hear a song that has talk about a little bit of sex or here and there, I don't feel as convicted because like, it's kind of like I've built this type of protection over my heart. And like, it's like, I'm not brought to the back those images whenever I used to listen to that. Or like, y'all know when y'all listen to a certain song, you're like, oh, I remember I was sitting in my chair in third period and I was crying about so-and-so, like how certain songs bring up certain things. That's how it was for me. And so I literally had to like cut that out completely. And so you have to also, that's just kind of goes back to what Pastor Jack was saying, like what is for him might not be for me. But like, I remember my best friend being like, you don't know this song? Like a few, maybe months later, a new song came out. She's like, you don't know this song? Like what? And I was like, no, like, I'm sorry. I'm not a music connoisseur like how it used to be. I used to listen to just everything because everything was a vibe. And so, yeah. Yeah.
How about that real quick? And also, a lot of people, y'all be playing with yourselves like, nah, bro, music don't do that. It's just music. It's just this or it's just that. Some of y'all don't, I don't know if y'all don't realize Lucifer, who is Satan now, was an angel that played, he literally had instruments on his body. Like music was his thing. You think now that he's the enemy, he still can't use music to influence you? Like, come on, don't stop playing with yourself, bro. If you listen to music, think about Travis Scott. Remember his concert where people died at? Because all of his music is about rage against the machine. And it's a huge mosh pit and people died at the concert. That's the music. It puts you in a mood. Y'all lying if y'all say y'all don't got music. I'm mad. I'm sad. Let me listen to this music real quick, man. I'm in my feels. There was literally a question at the panel. What music do you listen to when you're in your feels? Because music alters your perception of reality right now. It can take you to different places. Worship music does that as well. That's why it's so important to feed your spirit. Like how Destiny talked about how she listens to certain music. Like even for me, I don't even really listen to new music like that at all. Straight up. Old music, or even now, full disclaimer, it's lame as mess. I listen to wrestling entrances. You're like, what? When I tell you, it's crazy. But let me tell you something. Straight up, you got wrestling, you got gospel. That's about it. Like straight up. Instrumentals though, I love listening to ensembles of instruments now. Jazz music, contemporary jazz, reggae here and there. Stuff like that though, man, call me old, whatever you want. But guess what? I can control, man. There's nothing wrong with reggae. See, you know what? I already messed with you.
Now wait, there's some reggae.
There's some reggae you ain't supposed to be listening to.
Can we pass it over to Destiny? Because I would love to hear from a worship leader's standpoint, why do you listen to worship music on your own, not just when we're here on Wednesdays? And can you repeat the question, just to make sure they can hear me?
Why do I listen to worship music on my own? I would say because part of me is kind of like I don't ever want it to be like I come here only to sing or I come here only to worship God. Because again, as I got older and like matured in my faith, because in the beginning that's kind of like how it really was. It's like I only worshiped at church. I didn't like coming from a bad place. It was just kind of like I just never worship at home. But once I did start worshiping at home, one, it helped me as far as growing as a worship leader. And then two, it kind of just also puts me at peace. Like when I'm at work and I'm lashing and things like that, I'm always listening to worship music because it's a certain type of peace that I get when I listen to worship music. And thirdly, I feel like I have these encounters with Jesus that remind me that I don't need a church building to have an encounter with God. So, but that also comes from a place of like constantly just playing worship music, whether the plan is to have an encounter or I'm just playing worship music in my kitchen cleaning and then boom, a song comes on and I have a moment. It's like, oh, that was fun, you know? But I think that's pretty much it. It's like the peace that it gives me and the encounters that I have with Jesus on my own just make this here, like, that's why I'm always crying on stage when I'm, you know, like, this is like the sauce. Like, I get the meat at home. This is like the sauce, like extra. But yeah.
That was good.
So you focus on like the value of worship. Omari, how do I pray when nobody else is there? Because it's easy when Pastor Zach leads a prayer from the stage, or Destiny or Ashley lead a prayer from the stage. Like when we tell you to pray, or we give you like, we do the salvation prayer, repeat after me. That's easy. What do you do, and how do you do it when it's by yourself?
How do you pray when you're by yourself? My first question would be, do you listen when other people pray? Or do you just say amen? So, for instance, when you hear other people praying, what words are you hearing? Or are you just waiting for that trigger word at the end so I can open my eyes and look up? Or am I looking around awkwardly waiting to see what everybody else is doing? I mean, you have the prayer in the Bible, Our Father who art in heaven. You have all that. God, Jesus did instruct us on how to simply pray. But my question also is, well, I don't really know I don't really know God like that. Well, how do you meet new people? How do you meet someone at a family reunion, at school, when you sit next to somebody? You talk to that person. Hi, my name is this. Introduce yourself to God and have that relationship with Him. And all it is talking to Him. Not saying, oh, you listen to someone copy their style of praying, but you see how they're talking, and you'll end up finding your own cadence of how you communicate with God. Every now and again, you have a little joke with God, stuff like that. But all in all, it's just communicating. Don't overcomplicate talking to somebody. Everybody here got at least one friend. How'd y'all meet? You had an interaction with them.
You know, one thing that I do that I don't know if anybody else do, and I might be weird. So I created a contact in my phone called God, and I text God sometimes. Because sometimes, I'll just speak for me, I love talking to people, but sometimes it can be a little awkward to talk to someone you don't know that well. So there are times where it's like, it feels easier for me to just send a text to God. And
Does he have a number?
what's it? No. I set it up to like go either to like an email that I don't use anymore, or set it up to go to my personal email, because I think what's beneficial is, weenie. I think what's beneficial is, so if you, old school people did a lot of journaling, and I hate writing. That's like my pet. I hate writing. That's just a personal thing. I've never been a big writer. Even like when I go up there and preach, I'll type things out, but usually it's just me talking to my phone, voice text, voice memo, and then that's how I preach. That's just what I do. So I can't really write things out to God and it feel comfortable for me, but I can't type things out to God and it feel comfortable. So I bring that up because we have technology. We don't have to just keep doing things the way that people have always done it. Like before, if I told my parents I did that, they would look at me like, what does that even mean? I barely know how to text people. How am I supposed to text God? Like, but for me, it's just convenient. So I would say, you can find unique and creative ways to have a conversation with God, whether that's journaling, whether that's texting God, whether that's talking to Him just like this. If you need to, for mind's sake, set up a phone and act like God is on the other side. Do whatever you have to do that's going to make it as comfortable as possible for you to talk to God initially, till your relationship grows with Him and you can talk to Him at any capacity. Like when me and Ashley first started dating, we had known each other for a while, so it was easier. But I've talked to people in the past where we just kind of met and we built our relationship really fast. For a lot of them, depending on our relationship, there was different modes of communication that was easier for us to do with each other. So whatever feels comfortable for you, do that until you feel comfortable with God, and then you can change the method in which you use to talk to Him. I have another couple of questions, but I would like to encourage you, if you have any questions about like next steps that you can take following WinterCon or giving your life over to the Lord over the last couple of months, or you just want to get a little bit closer to Him than you used to be, if you have any questions, specifically that you would like to ask our panel, go ahead and start thinking of them, because we will take some questions at the end if anybody have any. But my next question will be for Desto. I apologize for my outburst. Jamie, what I got reprimanded, so I'm doing what I'm told to do. What does reading the Bible look like for you personally? Doctor?
What it looks like for me personally is it's not an easy thing to read the Bible, because it can definitely get to a point where it's like, all right, bro, I don't even know how this can even apply to my life. Like, this was written like thousands of years ago. How does this apply to my life? How can this even help me? I go about it as like, okay, what does this mean? And these individuals that went through this in their life, how did this affect them, right? How did their experience, how can I see that in my life? So let's just say the story of David. And we take how he was somebody that was just tending to the sheep, and he eventually became king. Okay, what was he feeling in the moments before he became king, when he was just a shepherd? And there's so many different stories, there's so many different examples in the Bible, and I try to bring it more so to a personal level of what I'm going through at the moment. And that's how I have to go about it.
So I got on YouTube and I was like, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I want to read through James. My goal is to read through 4 books of the Bible, which isn't a really low number, it seems like, until you're like, oh, I'm going to study the book of James for the next 3 months. So I got on YouTube and I looked up how to study the Bible. And I really like Jackie Hill Perry. Maybe some of y'all have heard of her, maybe you haven't, but Jackie Hill Perry, I think she's a good resource to pull on if you need to. And so me being me, I took notes watching the video so I could have a little bit of a formula, so I wasn't just like out in the wilderness trying to figure it out. So first thing I do is pray. Before I read my Bible every time and I'm about to study, I sit down and pray to interpret his word. It's God's word, so I need God to interpret it. I need the Spirit to understand what the Spirit wrote. And then the second thing is observation. So observing the passage. Why is that word there? Some words are in the Bible, and I'm like, what does that mean? Or like when I talked about during the 5x5, what is a yoke? Like, what does it mean to be yoked to someone? Because when I used to hear people say that when I was younger, I was like, an egg yolk? Like, what does that mean? So understanding what these things mean because of the context of the time and knowing who things were written for. The next thing I do is interpretation. So I don't try to interpret stuff just on my own. I will read it and I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Like, how do I understand this? But then I go to Blue Letter Bible is what I'm using right now, and I'll just like read what the commentary is saying and seeing how does that line up with what I just studied, and like praying for the Spirit to convict me, even if it's something that I'm like, well, I don't agree with that. Well, it doesn't matter because it's the word of God, so I don't have to agree with it. There's some things that are challenging me as I'm reading it, which leads into application. So you do it. How does it apply to your life? The process of believing what I read and like praying over that. And then if I knowing that in all of this, if I miss Jesus, then I miss the point.
That's very good. When we're going to take the next couple of questions to talk about some things that are in the Bible, and then let's bring some truth to it. So, why here at DY we talk about accountability all the time? Why do I need to have accountability, especially if you're a private person? Anybody like don't like people in their business like that? Like, I really don't want people to know what I like to be moving in silence and let y'all kind of do what y'all want to do. But why do you feel like accountability is valuable, especially if you're a private person?
Y'all think that y'all's own private business only affects y'all? If so, you're a fool. I'll tell you that right now. Because you ever heard a secret that has nothing to do with you, but it alters how you feel and how you view a friend group? Things like that. What you do behind closed doors, when it gets opened up and exposed, it can blow up and destroy a lot of things. Sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another man. The process of sharpening something is not comfortable. Picture putting a pencil in a pencil sharpener. You think the pencil is just going through a nice, pleasant experience? It's being grounded. The pencil is being grounded up into a sharpened point so that you can pass your test or whatever. There you go. So yeah, why do you need accountability? Because you need to be sharpened. If you're a dull blade, you're not effective in battle. You need to be sharpened.
So we don't really think about it, but Jesus had an accountability, God the Father. He prayed to God the Father for direction. And also, even when we think of people in the Bible, like Paul, he had an accountability as somebody that could walk beside him, like Barnabas. And he also was discipling somebody named Timothy. So when we want to make a change, we need somebody that can walk with us and somebody's a little bit ahead of us to cover us, because it will cost something to follow Jesus. And sometimes we want to shrink back. Having that accountability will kind of keep you in check and make sure that you want to keep doing this thing and make sure you're on the right path.
And accountability doesn't necessarily mean like, ooh, I did something bad, or ooh, I need to be held accountable because I struggle with this certain sin issue or something like that. Accountability is literally just, I need someone who knows more about life, who's walked some of this stuff out, because I don't know how to do this. Like, Zach comes from a home where his parents have been married for a long time. I come from a single parent household. I need marriage accountability because I'm like, I don't know how to be a wife. I'm out here doing it. I think I'm doing a solid job. Don't do that. I think I'm doing a good job, but like, what happens? What happens when stuff gets more challenging? You know, it's easy to be like, you know, like I'm a functioning adult who knows how to cook meals, who knows how to like, we do stuff around the house to make sure our household runs well. But I'm like, what happens when life gets rough? Because eventually stuff will come up for us that we have to outlast, because we plan on being married for our entire lives. So what do? We have people who we can turn to who can help us down the line. I don't have that example in my life. My mom is a good mom, and she's worked her butt off, like got 2 degrees before I finished 1. Like, she's a very hard worker. And so I have that from her, but I don't know how to be a wife. Therefore, I found someone, actually her mom, I'll be talking to her mom, and I'm just like, well, she knows how to be a wife. So I'm gonna talk to her and talk to other women who are ahead of me in the journey that I'm on. And that could be for you. Like, you could be one of y'all could be wanting to be a doctor. You could want to be a lawyer. You think you just go to school and you figure it all out by yourself? No, that's like literally why you have professors when you get to college. That's why you have seniors who are ahead of you in school. Like, that's a type of accountability, because those people help you to get further on the path that you're trying to go down.
And guys, sometimes that even looks like, a lot of times that looks like saying, hey, I messed up. I'm admitting that I messed up. I need help. Call your, but that's to say, call your own foul. Straight up, hey, I suck in this area. Can you make sure I stop sucking in this area? I'm giving you dominion, summer camp.
You say you suck in this area, and they...
Oh my God. Hey, I need help.
Bro, y'all was all laughing. I saw y'all.
And caught you in 4K. Caught you in 4K. You in 4K. Hey, I was laughing at that childish joke. I need help being mature. And got your butt. Anyway, it looks like straight up calling your own mistakes and saying, hey, I need help. Even on your good days, hey, this is day 4 of me not doing this. Day 6, day 7, I'm letting you know this day was harder than this day. I need your help. So sometimes it takes being uncomfortable, putting yourself out there, dropping your ego and pride, and coming in humility and saying, help me strengthen this area of my life. You got something to say, Destiny?
You just said
Yeah.
We're gonna go straight to a question. Go ahead.
Well, what you were just saying, because I actually was talking about accountability, like other people. You're talking about saying you messed up to God, like repenting, or you're talking about, so you're saying you messed up to other people so they can help you be accountable?
Both. Because how Pastor Zach said at WinterCon, you may only confess to God, and you may get convicted by God, and you start getting having God do a work on you. But how much more powerful is it when you confess to somebody else that's trying to help you along with God? So God will plant that seed with you. That person will help you water that plant.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to like our last major thing that we're going to talk about is that was a lot. Is the importance and the importance and the value of not just having accountability, but having good friends. How many of y'all actually have good friends? Put your hands up. Some of y'all like, nah, they in this room. Or some of y'all like, I ain't got no good friends. Some of y'all saying, put y'all hands up because you felt pressure because they in this room. Hey, don't feel pressure. Pressure ain't beneficial for nothing in this regard. The reason I want us to talk about us having good friends is because, like I said, we're coming off of WinterCon. When we were here, it was easy to do what's right. Wednesday nights, it's easy to do what's right. Like everybody here ain't perfect, but we're all going for the same thing. So it makes it easier. What happens when you're around them other friends who ain't going for the right things, who ain't really trying to be good, who don't really know who Jesus is? Then what does your life look like? So I want to throw it over to Destiny. Oh, Ashley?
Yeah, I'll pass it to her real quick because I thought I didn't have anything to say about this, but it just came in my head.
Holy Spirit, go ahead.
So I was like, I have nothing to say about this because I was a loner, not by choice in high school. I didn't have any close friends. I had a lot of associates. I participated in clubs and activities. And, but for some reason, I could never be close to people. If you pursue the Lord, you might get a little isolated. And that was one of the reasons why it was hard for me to make friends in high school. As I went to college and became an adult and found like-minded people, then it became a little bit easier, but isolation is a possibility because you're chasing after the Lord.
Wait. Question. Go ahead, Seal.
It's not a question, but I can really agree to that because
Restart.
I said, you're so disrespectful. Like, let me finish. I can agree a lot to that because it's like you have people who you don't really need in your life. It's like I'm like that now. It's like I have friends, but like they're associates. They're not gonna help you get like things that you need after school. They're not gonna help you get to where you get to for the future and whatever else you can. So.
Wise words.
Will you repeat the question?
You raised the question.
We're talking about friends.
Let's start with,
Is it the cut 'em out one
let's do
or the mark?
whichever one you want to answer first.
All right.
And you don't have to say it like that. You can say it however you want.
All right. I'm gonna blend them together. So,
It's up there, see?
I see it. It's on the board.
so how do you
That man Christian really looks like
What happened?
Y'all actually looking. That's
Up there, Steve.
They ain't walking.
Go ahead, Negro.
How do you determine if a person is a good friend? I would say, like how we talked about in our small groups at conference, looking to make sure that they're providing fruit and not flowers. Flowers wither, fruit actually provides, good nutrients and like they're edifying and things like that. So just kind of think about what are they producing in their own lives as well as in your life. And then also I wanted to read Ecclesiastes 3 as far as like when it comes to like, if you're like, whoa, I have this one friend, we've been down since kindergarten, but I know they're not good for me. I need to like cut them out, but I'm a Christian and I'm supposed to love people and things like that. So I wanted to read a little bit of Ecclesiastes 3 and its title or subtitle, A Time for Everything. For there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones. And it's this one that I kind of wanted to. Never mind, I lied. The next one. A time to embrace and a time to turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend. And so I just think that just goes to show that there's nothing wrong with, especially if you're growing and another person isn't, to just embrace that was just a season, right? I think a lot of times, especially in high school, you think that this person is, we about to be best friends forever. Little do you know, that is the case for some people, right? That's not the case for me. I can speak to that. I had lots of friends in high school, and I don't have one to this day, which is sad, but not really sad because I've gained a lot more that, are actually edifying to my life. So just look at the fruit that they're providing in your life. If it is a flower, flowers fade, they go away. Embrace that flower for what it was, but then when it's time to actually dig deep and be like, who are the keepers? I would look for the fruit. Ecclesiastes 3.
Can I? We gotta wrap up. Sorry. And to wrap up, if you're like, Pastor Dad, what does that even mean? What fruit should we be looking for? Remember, also during conference, we were talking about the fruit of the Spirit. So when you're around this person, if they're taking away the love that you feel for them or other people, if they're taking away your joy, if they're taking away your peace, if when you're around them, you don't have patience, that you just need it like this, if you don't have any self-control, if you feel like you're not kind or you don't have any goodness in your life, if you feel like you don't have any gentleness, if you feel like you are missing these things, any of these things or all of these things.
You feel bad about yourself.
If you feel bad about yourself, if any of these things happen when you're consistently around a friend, that is not a friend. That is a foe. They think that they're a friend, but they're not. And you're make sure you're listening as we get ready to wrap up. This isn't for you to be like, you suck. That's not what we're telling you to go do. Walk up to them like, you're trash people. I don't want to be friends with you. But you can be honest. And this is what I would say. This is how I do life. I'll be like, honestly, I love you. But when I'm around you, I'm not the best version of myself. We can either both go for this, and that's Jesus, or you can go this way, but I'm still going for Jesus. Kind of like Pastor Armand said on Friday night, some of his friends, he had to let know, I'm not going back to that party. I'm not going back over. I'm going for this. And if that means we can't be friends, I'm sorry. I don't want that to be the case, but I'm not going to stop. Maya, you had a question. Do you think you can fix those things? That's a great question. Because honestly, I have felt like I could fix those things. I used to have a huge Superman complex where I felt like I had to save everybody. That is not our goal. That is not our job. That is what Jesus does. Our job and our goal is to introduce them to Jesus. Because at the end of the day, me being beside them, trying to fix those things, really, they just become dependent on me, which isn't beneficial for them. And then I become a crutch to them, which isn't beneficial for them, because we won't always be in the same season of life. Like, say y'all decide to go to different colleges, then they screwed. Just like that. So, like, your best bet isn't to try to fix them. Introduce them to the person who knows them better than you know them, who knows them better than they know themselves. Destiny, you have something that you're going to add.
Okay. Also, small encouragement, but I'm always reminded of this, of just how I remember when I was in, especially like middle school, my 8th grade year, when I got like bullied really bad, and going into 9th grade and 10th grade, had this like complex where like I was like a chameleon. I got changed depending on who I was with, right? And I think what I know now looking back on it, is I was actually looking for somebody to be like, I don't want to do that. And so you never know, like, you being you and being the person that God has called you to, what that would do for somebody else. Because like looking back on it now, like if I had district when I was in high school, I can almost 90% guarantee you half the things that I did, half the things I said, the people I hung out with would not be a thing. So don't take these moments for granted, because you never know, like, what would happen if you actually started walking in your purpose and just taking and gritting your teeth, squeezing your cheeks, and be like, you know what? I'm actually gonna make the right choice this time. Because you don't know who's watching you. Right. And so sometimes it does take a little bit of gritting your teeth and being like, I'm okay with being the loner today. I'm okay with being the outsider, and accepting that and embracing that. And also just knowing that when you come here, you have your people.
Yeah. You good?
So I was going to pray and close at this point, but I want to do one last thing. I want to encourage you. Before you leave, and I know people are going to have to dip really quick, we have some cards on the table over there on that round black bistro that's kind of tall. It says what your next steps need to be. I want to encourage you, before you leave, to write what you feel like your next step needs to be, the next part that you need to grow in, whether that's prayer or worship or reading the Bible or finding accountability or cutting some friends off, whatever you feel like your next step needs to be. I want you to write that down, and then I want you to do something that we don't ever have you do. I want you to write your name on it, and I want you to actually give it to a leader. You're like, oh, Pastor Zach, I'll go write something. Then you said that I wasn't about to write, but I'll go write. But the reason I tell you to do that is because the reason in the past I haven't always had y'all give it to somebody is because I'm trying to give y'all a pass, realistically. I've been nice. I'm tired of that. I don't want to be nice and then y'all keep being the same way. I'm going to be firm, but I know that y'all can rise to the occasion, because WinterCon shows that y'all love Jesus. So it's going to feel uncomfortable, and that leader is going to be accountability, at least for that one part of your life. And you may be like, I am not ready for this. The thing is, us as leaders, we are not going to call you to do something that we don't think you can do. And we'll be there every step of the way while you're trying to do it. But we are not going to go back to summer camp the same way that we came into WinterCon. By the time we get to summer camp, we are expecting growth in all of you. And if I'm being real, we're expecting growth in this room. Because once y'all are really growing spiritually, you're going to want to tell your friends about Jesus. You're not going to want to invite them to DY. You're going to want to tell them about Jesus. My goal is not to get people to DY. My goal is to get people to heaven. And that means y'all have to share who Jesus is with your friends. So we are going to hold you accountable so you can grow in those areas, so then your friends see a change, so then they want to be a part of whatever was great enough for you to change. So
Please don't be upset if y'all give us something and we know for sure that we haven't been there ourselves and we give it to so-and-so.
good answer.
I give it to Melissa because I actually am struggling with that, but I know she's
Better at that? Good answer.
gonna pass it on, but not because we're like that.
Well, that's a very good point. Thank you so much. I'm going to let Pastor Ashley say the last thing and then pray.
One last thing that happened to me in grad school, bruh. I did not care who knew that I love God and who, like, I just was gonna say it. It was just such a part of, it's such a part of my DNA now that's like, it's just an outpouring. And I just remember being in grad school being like, yeah, I'm going to a Lecrae concert. If y'all don't know who Lecrae is, he's a rapper who happens to rap about Christian stuff as well. And I remember saying that, and like, no one said anything to me in the room at the time, but I ran into a grad school friend like maybe 3-4 years later at another worship night. And I was like, oh my gosh, hey. And she told me, she was like, the way that you follow Jesus, that changed my heart. I had no idea the impact I had on her just by being myself and being like, no, like, I love God. It's cool. I'm a Christian. I know that I'm in a class with Muslim people and atheists and stuff like that, but this is my faith. I stand firm on this. And that was really like such a testament, just like, not that I did anything, but it was like God used me to reach someone else. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to minister to her in the moment. We were literally just going through grad school together. And like later on, she comes back and tells me like, I got saved. Like, I turned my life over to God. And so I just want to encourage you, to Destiny's point, like, don't be afraid to walk this out. Don't be afraid to be a Christian in your school with the people around you, because it is way more respectable. People have so much more respect for you when you stand on your convictions. So I'll go ahead and pray for us and